out for my fall trail work visit, trying to patrol the whole section. I walked in to where I turned around last time, not doing any trail work, though if there was something major I would have stopped and dealt with it. There just wasn't anything major. So I wanted to get in where I hadn't been for, well, longer time period, and doing some clipping here. Yeah, I stopped and took out my stuff to do this trail work, and will now be doing clipping, kind of continuing my work from last time on this other section of the trail. Because I turned around last time, basically at the top, I'm choosing to do this work on the downhill leg as I go down the other side of the little mountain hill in the middle of my section. And that's because when I'm headed downhill, I'm more likely to notice these high branches that can get in the way, whereas if I'm going uphill, I might be looking down a little bit more. Not that it's not good to cut some of the stuff that's on the ground too, but I also want to notice this upper stuff, and it's not too big of a deal if I don't get everything. I will be coming back here multiple times again next year, so if it's really bad, I'm almost certainly going to notice it, but if it's just a little bit bad, it can wait. I talked about it before with the grass whipping, but it's even more of something I think about when I'm clipping, because kind of what I'm doing with the clipping has a longer term impact. But this is a little branch here that, if you step back, kind of seems in the way of the trail. Like the main path kind of goes right here, but there's rocks right here, and that's the kind of a crude stone staircase kind of thing. And that's where I want to encourage people to walk, on the stones rather than kind of in this drainage gully. So even though I'd be kind of normally clipping this distance from the rocks, just to kind of give some space, and just so that as growth comes in, it's not like causing issues in the future, I want a little bit of buffer. I'm not going as far buffering on this trail as I would on kind of one that wouldn't get as much maintenance, but this one I'm going to keep in order to encourage people onto these rocks, and hopefully through the years I can remember to keep that. When I turned around, I switched out the loppers for the hand hoe and have been clearing out a handful of water bars on the way as needed. This water bar right here would typically be a water bar I clear out. It's kind of full of leaves, and I don't really like leaves in the water bar. However, I'm not doing that today. Partly, this is late September and I'm doing this after work, so it's starting to get dark. Partly, well, it's only late September. There's still a bunch of leaves on the trees, so even if I spend some time to clear this out, it's just going to fill back up with leaves as they come off the tree more, or even kind of wash down more. And I just don't think that that's worth my time as it's getting dark a little bit. And I just don't have time to do all of that. The other kind of benefit that I imagine from having leaves in the water bar over winter is that means that there isn't exposed soil, so there's hopefully less erosion, both on the trail, which is really where I don't want it in the water bar, which it's kind of okay to have some erosion, but I'd rather not have unnecessary erosion in the water bar. So those are the reasons that I'm only doing a handful of these water bars, cleaning them out with the hand hoe, and leaving most of them for the spring visit. This visit, which I consider my complete fall, kind of get the whole trail, there wasn't really anything that was necessary. No need for my axe that I brought along, and the work pants and boots that I'm wearing thus were not needed, and didn't expect that to be an issue. It ended up being a little bit warmer today than I was anticipating when I packed everything. I actually have a lot of spare clothing compared to the previous visits, given kind of what I was expecting for temperatures, though it will get cold overnight, so if I did injure myself and wasn't able to continue, I think those would have been useful, which is why I brought them. I didn't ever expect to use them, but with the clothing I have, I'm a little bit warmer than I maybe would like, just with walking long sleeves and all. But overall, it's still a good visit. I managed to use the loppers to clear a section of trail, which, although that's by no means an urgent task or even kind of, it's something that, though I don't need to do it, is useful. It's something that will have use and benefit down the line that I won't have to do at a future date. And cleaned out a couple water bars that needed it. Wasn't really expecting anything else, kind of hoping there'd be one tree down that I could chop up just because I like chopping trees, but didn't want a ton because that would take too much time. Didn't get to use my axe, mostly the loppers and a few little bits with the hand hoe, but a good hike and get me started on my weekend.